Hey guys, it's Kimber Shafer with Rage in the Cage, and I'm here at the Academy of Martial Arts in South Oklahoma City, and we're so excited to be talking about Rage in the Cage 31 happening September 19th, 2014. It's at Choctaw Creek Park. Main event is going to be off the hook, if I can say it that way. So excited to have Kyle Sjafiroeddin here, and you're going to be fighting David Roberts. How do you feel about this fight?
I feel good. It's going to be a tough fight. David comes and brings the heat. I know he's I call him a headhunter. I think he got a little insulted by that the other night on the interviews, but I know he's going to come out and try to knock me out. But like I said, man, I work with the best fighters around in Oklahoma here at Academy of Martial Arts. He ain't going to give me nothing I ain't seen 1,000 times. So I'm ready. Let's do it.
You've been here well over 10 years, so what keeps you here?
The people, most of all, Kendrick Coleman. I mean, he's the best coach in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, by far. As far as striking goes, as far as grappling goes, as far as just anything goes, Kendrick Coleman is by far the best. And, I started out with Kendrick when we were just a little bitty shack in Midwest City. We moved up to a little bit bigger of a gym, and now he's here on the south side. So there's plenty of room for newcomers. So anybody want to learn martial arts, come on out here and check out a couple free classes.
And you mentioned you've been with him for quite a while. I mean, starting when you were 17 or 18 years old, and you were a bit of a troubled kid, as a lot of guys that start into martial arts, and you were basically just looking for a place to come to kind of cool off.
Yeah, I always liked the fighting. I like the idea of the fighting. I was the kid, in my bedroom watching Rocky Balboa and then getting up and putting on like 5 pairs of socks on my knuckles and boxing me and my brother, and letting him hit me. And then I hit the ground and I make him count to 10 and get up at the last at 9, just like Rocky Balboa did. So fighting was always intriguing to me, but I didn't never get it until I met Kendrick Coleman. I mean, he taught me martial arts, and I'm very thankful for it. I'm very blessed.
You've also taken some tough fights here in the past couple of years. You fought Zach Church, who is a former Bellator fighter, and you fought Ryan Couture, of course, that fought for UFC. And so tell me a little bit about how those fights went and what you've learned from them.
The Zach Church fight, I'll go with that first. I thought I had that in the bag. No excuses. No excuses. Zach, you won the fight, and I give you props for it. But I thought I had that fight in the bag, and I learned from that fight to never let my guard down, never think that it's over. And because I really thought in the 5th round that I could coast, and I learned never to think that again. As far as the Couture fight, I trained really hard for that, probably the hardest I've ever trained, and I blew it because of my mental state. I thought I was going to let people down, and I learned after that fight was over. I remember I came out, and I didn't want to see my friends or family, and I came out and I seen everybody, and everybody was just happy about it. They were so proud of me. So that's when I realized, I don't need to think that way, and it cost me a very big opportunity, and I'll never let that happen again.
And, and going back to Zach Church, you were just on the radio show, Rage in the Cage Radio, on Monday nights. And correct me if I'm wrong, but did you say that you were hoping for a rematch?
I'm hoping. Zach, if you're out there, I heard that you wanted to defend that belt. So I know we talked about getting it on again. So, hey, I'm down if you are.
Well, sounds great. And let's talk a little bit about you as a person and some of your beliefs. I know you are a Christian man, and you told this story to me on the radio the other night, and so I want to go ahead and have you tell that story again about the 2 kids that were playing basketball, and you invited them into the church, and let you finish that story from there.
Yeah, I volunteer at Life Church, and Wednesdays, which I'm supposed to be, would be there tonight, but I got a big fight coming up, obviously. But it's Switch, so I volunteer at Switch to help out with the teenagers, preferably the high school kids. And about 2 weeks ago, there was a couple kids out there playing basketball. They weren't there for church; they were just to play basketball. And when it came down to go in and to worship, those kids were about to go home, and I figured I'd try to get them to come in. And one of them was a little bit on the fence about it, and so I kind of talked him into it. He was like, "Is there girls there?" And I was like, "Man, there's tons of girls. Come on, man." So he came in. The other 2, they were giving me excuses about not being dressed, which is okay. They were playing basketball, so they were in basketball shorts and tank tops. So I said, I'll get you a shirt, and they said, "Hey, man, we stink." And I was like, "I got cologne. I'm just trying to get them in." And I didn't want to pester them, so I said, all right, you guys go ahead and leave. You guys going to come back next week? And they said, yeah, we're going to come back. And, I hoped they would, but, I wasn't, betting on it. And the next week, which was last week, I was just going to go ahead and come up here and get some rounds in. And I had to go work out first, and on my way home, I have to pass by Life Church. And as I was passing by, it was just about the time where the kids go out there and start playing basketball. And I seen those two kids walking across the street wearing jeans and a collared shirt. And I was like, oh, man, they came. So I had to go home and tell my wife, hey, I got to go to, I can't go train tonight. I got to go to church. So sometimes, you hear God tugging on your heart, and you got to listen to him.
Well, and it was more than a tug, really, because it was kind of, you could tell a God moment, because if you would have been 30 seconds earlier or 30 seconds later, you wouldn't have seen them crossing the streets. You wouldn't have that huge heart tug.
Yeah, I would have missed it. And they might have came in, and I talked to them when I got there, and we played a little football together, and it was a good message that night too. So I think it really spoke to them. So I would have felt really bad had I known I could have messed that up. So I'm glad I went.
Well, I am excited. I hope that you have a follow-up story to that and let us know how it went and if they continue to come to church. And let's talk a little bit about, you were a little bit of a troubled teen, as we talked about. You came to AMA, and that really changed you a lot. But then it was later in your 20s that you finally decided that you needed more, and you found Life Church. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've always been a believer. I don't know if I was doing, God's will, and I hope I am now. But you get a little older, and you start, maturing, I guess, and settling down. And in my early 20s, I wasn't. I'm not going to say I was real bad, but I was a little wild. But before that, in my teens, I was bad. But yeah, you get older, you calm down a little bit, and I've always loved church. I've loved God, but I was really, I feel like I couldn't fit in really at traditional churches, just because it's so much, it's almost so much rules they kind of stress on it, and I've always thought that to be a Christian is really to transcend the rules, and because that's what Jesus died. He died because of our, for our sins, so we transcend the old law. And so for someone to say, you need to act this way, you need to act this way, you need to act this way to earn your way in heaven, I think is the wrong way to do it. I think you need to want to be a good person just because of what Jesus did for you. You take the eternal life out of it. It's not a reward. It's given to you freely, but you should act the way He wants you to act just because of what He did, pure and simple. And I found Life Church, and it was really come as you are. And I met Pastor Sam at Life Church in Memphis City. I love him. I love you. He comes to my fights. He comes back there and says a prayer with me, and he's a great man. And I'm really blessed. I found him, and my wife loves Life Church. They married us. Pastor Vince, he's actually a campus pastor in Oklahoma City now. So I got to see him go up and move on up in Life Church. So yeah, I love Life Church, and I think I found a home. So.
Well, good, and I'm so excited about that, and let's talk a little bit. Let's go back to your fighting now, and tell me a little bit about your fighting style, what you think your strengths are, and how you think, what you think you need to do to win this fight.
Not get hit, apparently. Because that's all David talked about the other day on his interview, is how he hits hard. I know he does. Like I said, he beat a friend of mine a couple years ago, and I've seen his fights too. He's a hard hitter, and he comes and brings it, But what am I going to do to win this fight is just be me. I've been training for so long, and I'm so technical, and I got these guys in my corner, especially my coach. And like I said, he's the greatest coach in Oklahoma. So with him as my coach and training partners like these, I can't lose. So as long as I go out there and I do me, I win.
Well, and I think you said this kind of in another way, but the same thing in the Ryan Couture fight. You learned that you can't let your mind get ahead of your fight game. So how important do you think that is just to stay focused and keep your mind where it needs to be?
With the Couture fight, it was never a matter of focus. I was always focused. I can lose. I'm a big enough man to be able to lose a fight. One thing I don't like is to feel like I'm letting people down. And for that Couture fight, I had so many people calling me out of the blue and Facebook who I haven't talked to in years, and everybody was saying this is your chance, this is it, everything starts new. And it was there was stuff on ESPN and Bleacher Report, and there's so much stuff popping up on the internet all the time. I just really felt like I was going to let people down, and I don't like that feeling. That's what got me. It wasn't, oh, the nerves, oh, my goodness, I'm fighting Ryan Couture. It wasn't any of that. It was just the fact that I thought I was going to let people down. And unfortunately, it took that losing that fight to realize no matter what I do, I'm not going to let anybody down. I mean, they're proud of me no matter what, especially the ones that, genuinely care about me. So that's the lesson I take away from the Ryan Couture fight. Unfortunately, it was a big opportunity, and I missed out on it, but I'll never let that happen again.
Well, awesome. We're so excited to see your future progress. Excited to have you on the Rage in the Cage 31 card, and just looking forward to seeing that fight. And of course, there's a lot of hype about that fight, and so really looking forward to that, and looking forward to your future ahead. One last thing I want to mention before we go. Actually, I wanted to ask you, do you have any thank yous or anything you want to shout outs or anything you want to do?
Yeah, I'll shout out, first of all, let me shout out my friends and family. Thank you guys for everybody's coming out and watching this fight. Thank you to my wife who's back home right now. She's putting up with all my crap, cutting the weight and being irritable, never being there. My daughter, Avery, I don't get to see her as much. She doesn't understand. She thinks I'm fighting monsters. So sorry, David. You're actually a monster for this fight. So let me thank Shape Fitness for, they're always helping me out and, giving me everything I need. I love you guys out there. And most of all, Academy of Martial Arts, everybody up here, my MMA family, I love y'all. I wouldn't be able to fight without you guys. Kendrick Coleman, without him, I would have never even found fighting. So I owe everything to him when it comes to this MMA stuff. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you all as well for watching our pre-fight interviews. And we are so excited about this fight, not just because it's a night of fights, but because it has also transpired to be a fundraising event for Skylar Holman. And fighters like all of the fighters on the card are going to be donating $1 of their ticket sales. Actually, the dollar is coming from Rage in the Cage. To go towards Skylar's cancer treatment. So we're so excited about that. We hope to see you guys all there September 19th in Choctaw, Oklahoma. Thank you so much.